So, what we're going to talk about now is financial philosophies. And there's two people that come to mind for us when we think about financial philosophies, right? Two people we would consider. There's a YouTuber called Stephan, and then there's Dave Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
So, Dave Ramsey, ultra fiscally conservative. You know, he believes in no debt at all. The only debt he believes you should get in is debt for somewhere you live in. And I actually agree with Dave. You know, I, for the most part, follow his philosophy. Then you have Stephan that says, hey, there's no problem going in debt if it's going to make you some money. So, you know, he has a car note. He has mortgages on multiple homes. But he also lives on a budget, very frugal, and he invests everything.
Okay.
He takes what he lives on and invests the rest. And, you know, he's a high-income earner. So which one of those philosophies you think more align with?
So, question for you.
Yeah.
Does Stephan have enough liquid cash to pay off his debts?
I believe he does.
Okay. So, that's a big deal. If Stephan is a high earner, he also has enough money saved up or in his investment accounts to pay off his debts at any given time, I believe that he has the best philosophy to increase income, to increase net worth faster. But as far as, you know, if you're a blue collar worker, it makes sense to follow the Dave Ramsey philosophy, where you have no debt, you're paying off your student loans, no credit card debt, no car payment. That makes sense. You know, then you can save your $40,000 to $60,000. But if you're a high earner like Stephan, it makes sense to leverage your debt and create wealth. He's going to be a very wealthy man at the end of his career because he took that risk and leveraged his debt.
Well, I mean, Dave Ramsey's worth a couple $100 million, I believe.
Yeah, but he's been doing podcasts, he's been doing the radio hosting, and I'm pretty sure he has other investments. Yeah. He lives a conservative philosophy, but he doesn't have a conservative life.
Well, wait. So Dave has, you know, his company, Dave Ramsey, right? So
right.
They
He's
have
rich.
the radio show, the podcast, and the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of employees. And then they have financial products and stuff. They teach classes.
All right.
So, you know, with Dave Ramsey Plus. I think it's a great tool if anybody wants to use that. Then he has real estate, right? He has a lot of money in real estate. He has rental properties. He owns his building, which I think is a 9-figure building or something. Crazy. Like, he owns it outright, the Dave Ramsey building, where they do all their work out of.
Mm-hmm.
Then, you know, he has investments in mutual funds. So, I mean, Dave, more or less, has a similar investment profile as Stephan. It's just way bigger.
Right. And what I'm trying to say is, like, I feel like he caters to the person that's trying to get out of debt. That's his audience. He caters to people that aren't multimillionaires, or they're striving to be financially free, but maybe they just want to get by with the status quo. And there's nothing wrong with that. Stephan is like, okay, I want to be a billionaire by the time I'm retirement age, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I have the cash and the cash flow and liquid cash to pay off all my debts right now if I wanted to. He's gonna be richer than Dave Ramsey.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I mean, he could be richer than Dave Ramsey, but I think we could both agree on this. Not too many people become billionaires just off of investment.
Okay.
They usually own something that increases crazy in value. So, for example, right, the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, is worth over $100 billion,
right,
mostly from his shares in Amazon, the company which he started. Elon Musk, second richest man in the world, he's worth over $100 billion because of his stock in Tesla. Mm-hmm. So they started something, then owned the stock in it. To go from, you know, real estate property ownership and to a billionaire, it's going to be tough. Now, if Graham, you know, monetizes what he does, his platform, and grows it to the level of a Dave Ramsey, it's still going to be hard to be a billionaire, but he can get there.
Maybe not a billionaire, but Dave Ramsey is worth, what, $200 million?
Yeah.
You don't think Stephan can be worth $200 million in the next 20 years? If he continues that work ethic.
Yeah, for sure. He's a hustler.
Exactly.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure he owns things. He has a business, LLC, or
he owns stuff.
Yeah. And how did Warren Buffett become a billionaire?
He became a billionaire from investment.
Exactly. That's also
that's
also a route.
I said not too many.
That's true.
But it's gonna be hard to just invest your way. Here's the thing, right? You're gonna have to have an astronomical income at some point. Mm-hmm. Look at Michael Jordan, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't become a billionaire until he owned the NBA team. Prior to owning the Hornets, he was not a billionaire.
Okay.
Most billionaires, just Kanye West, he became a billionaire after owning Yeezy line, right? Which he still owns. He licenses out, which was what makes him a billionaire.
Sure.
Right, because a lot of his net value is based on when his contract with Adidas is up, how much will somebody pay him for the Yeezy line?
Sure.
Which would be billions, right?
Correct. That's what he's valued at. Correct.
Yes. So not because of anything he has in the bank, because the Yeezy brand he owns, if you wanted to buy it from him, that's how much it will cost, right? That's how much Adidas probably would pay him to say, hey, forget this licensing agreement. We just want to own Yeezy outright. So this is actually a great conversation, right? Because we inadvertently got into what that next step has to be for that next step of wealth. Because investing can only get you so far. It will get you far. It'll magnify whatever you have, right? I look at investment as like a magnifier or a multiplier. Okay. If you have X amount, you throw investing in there, it'll grow that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how everyday workers become millionaires. But if you want to hit that next level, you have to own something.
I agree. But if you talk about investments and leveraging debt, Donald Trump is a multi-billionaire strictly from investments and real estate properties. And yes, granted, his dad gave him millions of dollars to play with. And I'm just saying, the man
There's
leveraged
a lot of
debt
factors for him
and increased his net worth.
He got into New York real estate extremely early.
Yes.
He is loaded with a lot of debt, billions in debt. I believe.
Debt.
He came from a legacy. It's just I don't think he's a good. I think everybody else is good. Him is hard to really, That's like So that's like talking about somebody from like the Saudi royal family. It's kind of hard to gauge them and their billions.
$10 million to $3 billion is insane. That's not like Saudi money, That's like, I'm American saying. Wealthy. Here's $10 million. Go do something with it. Son.
Timing, though.
Okay, sure.
How much growth did the New York real estate market have from even the 80s? From the 90s to 2000s.
Warren Buffett is a billionaire all because of timing. He hopped in at these companies because of his time. That's it. Agree. A lot of people, civil rights activists, are civil rights activists, and everyone knows them because of that time, that era.
For sure.
So it's all about timing. But I think, to go back to the question, the philosophy that I would use would be Stephan. Just because, I like building a passive income, and if I have the capital or some type of cash, liquid, whatever I can pull from all my investments to wipe it out, no problem. I don't see a problem with that. Invest.
And I will go with the Dave Ramsey way. Little to no debt. If you have debt, let it be the house you live in. That's fine. Take that money, create a good budget, invest the rest.
That's solid. There's nothing wrong with that. Very conservative.
Because those payments, let's take me for example. If I raise student loan debt and, car note, right? I don't have a car note, but I did at a point. But if you combine those two monthly payments and I just invested that every month, now that I'm, or at the time I become free of those debts, that's money.
Yeah, it is money.
So you can invest and have low debt, I think. So, I just think, go to Dave Ramsey route. You don't owe anybody anything. Hey, your overhead's really low. You get to the point where you're just paying insurance, taxes, and utilities. I think that's a good life. Invest the rest.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing that kind of throws me off is the time that you've spent trying to pay off that debt, and you could have increased your net worth in a different way during that time period in a faster way. Like real estate, you could get a mortgage right now for $100K, put somebody in there and have a passive income, then use that, do it again, flip it, do it again, flip it, just like whatever Stephan is doing. On top of that, I feel like the Dave Ramsey approach or philosophy makes sense if you're running a business. You should run a business very lean. But as far as like a person, I think if you want to become wealthy, you have to leverage that.
And I think, right, because there's a caveat to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about just taking out no debt? So we're assuming somebody has debt to pay off. What if you got the message from the beginning? You say, you know what, I'm not going to have any student loan debt. I'm going to work nights to pay for college. I'm always going to buy my cars cash. So you're basically going in with no debt.
Then you're ahead of the game. Yeah. But if you started from, I got, $300,000 mortgage, I got, $200,000 in student loans, credit card debt up to $50K.
Why are you worried about investing? You got out of debt. That sounds like a mess.
You shouldn't be investing if you got $50,000 in credit
card debt. I don't want to hear anything about investing.
Oh man, what a life!
Because the opposite. Man, I think we'll close out this segment on that one. That's funny. That is hilarious, man.